Let's have a look at the dilapidation report for Mascot Towers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Florian Heiser, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. This morning I released a video sharing the great news that Bayside Council released all of their information for Mascot Towers and the neighbouring building Peak Towers. And included in that information was this document. Now, this is a, 2,600 page document. It's a dilapidation report prepared by the developer of the adjoining property at 27 Church Avenue concerning the Mascot Towers project. Now, these are prepared, and I'm sure a lot of you are not familiar with these type of documents. They're prepared for you when, say, you're doing a project, any construction work. What you want to do is you want to make sure you get a dilapidation assessment done of the buildings around your building and even the council-owned infrastructure, just so you have evidence of what was already broken or the existing conditions or how dilapidated the context was to your building, so that you can not get nabbed when they see you with money and try and say, oh, these cracks that were here for 17 years, you caused that, do the dodge. So I thought we'd look through it, to be honest. Now, I think this is not as exciting as it seems, or maybe it is. If you haven't seen this type of thing. I'm used to this as an architect, just recording it. We'll read through the introduction here for those of you who are not familiar with these documents. So, important information regarding the scope and limitations of the inspection and this report. So, point 1. This report is not an all-encompassing report detailing with the building from every aspect, or dealing with the building from every aspect. This report is not a certificate of compliance with the requirements of any act, regulation, ordinance, or bylaw. It is not a structural report. Should you require any advice of a structural nature, you should contact a structural engineer. Okay, now remember that we're getting everyone telling us from the BPA or not the BPA, the Building Designers Organization, the RIA, engineers, everyone saying that they're pushing for a solution for this would be yearly inspections. So I guess they'd push for yearly structural inspections, because these type of dilapidation inspections, you'll see what they can capture and what they can't capture without opening up the building and causing damage. Here, point 2. This is a visual inspection only. Okay, a visual inspection only, limited to those areas and the sections of the property fully accessible to the inspector on the date of inspection. Notice that, fully accessible, so they can just lock off bits and not let people get in there. An inspection does not include breaking apart, dismantling, removing, or moving objects, including but not limiting to foliage, moldings, roof insulation, floor or wall coverings, sidings, ceilings, floor, furnishings, appliances, or personal possessions. The inspector cannot see inside walls, beneath floors. I know I'm laughing at that, but people sometimes, when we go and do point cloud scans of things, they ask, can it go through walls? I mean, and come on, we're shooting a Class 1 laser. We're not shooting gamma rays at these things. Between floors, inside skill iron roofing, behind stored goods, in cupboards, other areas that are concealed or obstructed. The inspector did not dig, gouge, force, or perform any other invasive procedures. Okay, you can do that, but then you have to pay for the rectification if you want. Visible timber cannot be destructively probed or hit without the written permission of the property owner. This is interesting because when we had a building pest inspection done on my mother's unit, he actually probed things without written permission. He caused damage to the property. I mean, we were taking it all off and fixing it. Unfortunately, we bought it, but I wasn't too impressed. So this report does not and cannot make comments upon defects that may have been concealed during the assessment or detection of defects, including rising damp and leaks, which may be subject to the prevailing weather conditions, the presence or absence of timber pests, gas fittings, common property areas, environmental concerns, the proximity of the property to flight paths, railway or busy traffic, noise level, health and safety issues, heritage concerns, security concerns, fire protections, site drainage apart from surface water drainage, swimming pool and spas, non-structural, detecting and identification of illegal building work. Yeah, that's another thing. Detection and identification of illegal plumbing work. Yes, well, actually, we noticed that on some jobs too, where you get a plumber out to inspect it and go, yeah, this can't happen. Durability of exposed finishes, neighborhood problems, and document analysis, electrical installation, any matters that are solely regulated by statute, any areas or items that could not be inspected by the consultant. Accordingly, this report is not a guarantee that defects and or damage does not exist in any inaccessible or partly inaccessible areas or sections of the property. Okay? So I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but this remember, people are calling for putting this financial burden on all of the stratas or body corporates on a yearly basis as a way of addressing all these issues. But look at the limitations here, guys. Look at the limitations. It shows to me that it's even if you get a structural engineer out there, are they going to be x-raying the slabs to check for things? You know, there's a lot of limitations with what you can check unless you want to be invasive, and then that adds additional cost. And it's even worse if your invasive acts don't find any damage. Anyway, note being such matters may upon request be covered under the terms of a specially proposed property report. In the event of any controversy or a claim arising out of or relation to this report, it will be settled by arbitration in accordance with the rules of the Institute of Arbitrators Australia. Any judgment from such arbitrators shall be binding upon both parties. So they're protecting themselves there. I don't blame them in the slightest, because there's a lot of risk associated with this. I mean, how many YouTubers are reading these reports and talking about them? Thumbs up if this is the first YouTube video on a dilapidation report you've seen. Thumbs up and take a swig of your Steiner coffee. Okay, so this is the descriptions they use. Good. Indicates that there are no defects evident and the items described are in good condition for their age. Reasonable. Oh, that's our favourite Reserve Bank governor's word, isn't it, for our economy? So indicates that the item may have minor defects and should be noted but not significant enough to need immediate rectification. Well, actually, if we take these terms and apply them to our economy, we can't. It's definitely not good, and it's definitely not reasonable as much as he's saying, because they have taken immediate rectification, haven't they? So poor indicates that general maintenance or minor repair may be warranted. What do you reckon? Do you think dropping the interest rate is poor? I know I'm going off topic, but it's funny. Maybe our economy is in a poor state by this assessment. Maybe we should get engineers running our economy. All the engineers, thumbs up if you like that idea. Defective indicates there's a significant fault that should be rectified. Well, I think we'd all agree that that's an important thing. Okay, so what do they do? The inspection areas that were inspected: the footpath, curb, gutter directly adjacent to the site, within 20 metres of the main building, within the boundaries of the site were inspected, as well as neighbouring properties. The area is not accessible for any inspection, pardon me, or any areas concealed by wall. Yep, we've talked about that. So let's have a look. And here we go. This is the inspection. This is how they do it. So this is it. And you can see here, figure 1, the following images display the condition of 1.5. So we can have a look here. And I will just zoom into the images so we can see. So here's an overall image, and they date stamp each photograph because, I mean, this can be used in court proceedings, can't it? And this is the general condition of the northern facade. I hope they have a high quality images than this. I mean, this will be a huge document, honestly. If they did it in Word, it may have dumbed it down. So you can see here there's some damage here. The general condition, you know, paint flaking through the northern facade. There's some damage here. Cracking propagating through the northern facade. Where is that? Is that there? Maybe? Yeah, these images aren't as clear as you'd hope, are they? So we've got, just fit that to window. Paint flaking through the northern facade. Some cracking here. Cracking through the facade. Cracking through the northern facade. Cracking. And look at that damage. Something's hit that there. Cracking. Propagation through the northern facade. Here. Cracking. So they have to go through and capture as much as they can. To protect their client who's doing this work next door, because you don't want their work to be causing damage to this building. So remember, this should have been done before any work even started. 2017. Cracking. Got some cracking here. This kind of aligns with what we've seen in other places where People were leaving comments on reviews of Mascot Towers that they had advised of cracking from 2011. 7 News reported on it as well, that people were informed of that. Look, you've got cracking here, general condition. Look at that cracking. Is that the same one? It's the same photo. The same spot here. Paint flakes through the northern facade. So these are all signs of damage, of water getting into it, potentially expanding. So here we go. You know, you've got paint flaking. You've got some damage there. But one image that I want you to all remember, and we'll get here. I mean, they're looking at the general conditions of the pavement and driveway. I mean, there'll be a lot of stuff here that's just for the record. I mean, like, you know, little stuff like that. They got to pick it all up. You've got to photograph all of it. So this is a full day's work. I don't know if he's wearing a hat. He should be, because it looks sunny there. It's a health and safety issue. You can see here, there's some cracking there. I mean, there's always going to be minor things like this, minor stuff, but they need to record it all. We've had jobs where, you know, based on the photographs we took, we used that to get a builder to replace some damaged tiles that was damaged from their guys moving stuff around. That's what you do. You do it to protect your client. Now, don't we recognize this? Don't we recognize this right here? Right here, general condition of the basement external wall, figure 53. That's in all of the newspapers and news articles, everything. That image, the cracking, that's what they're showing. The cracking. It's from 2017 it existed. That's been there for years, since the 9th of the 10th, 2017. Okay? So, they knew about it. They knew what was going on there. Paint flaking through the basement external walls. So if you're doing, one lesson to take away here, I mean, you can see here, this is exactly what they've been using on the news. You know, cracking, propagating through basement external walls, image, figure 58. It's what they're using on the news to just talk about this. If you're doing any construction work, anything, even a residential project, even an extension, you should get one of these reports done. You should get one of these reports done, a dilapidation report of your neighboring buildings. Even if you do it yourself, even if you ask your building designer to do it themselves. You know, this is not a structural report. You can see anyone can go and do this. I mean, you want an engineer to do it because or someone experienced in the construction industry to do it, even a builder would be good. They're probably much better, to be honest, in some ways, because they know where to look for wear and tear. But you want to record this. And just think about it. $500 to get someone to do this for you. This would have cost more. I'm talking domestic house, you know, for a day. It may save you a fortune. It may be something that you can use to protect yourself in a legal case. Now, someone recently bought in here, so I wonder how their building and pest inspection, how it brought up all these issues, if they were identified. I'm getting people commenting on things. I need to turn that off. Oh, well. So, crack propagating through the basement external walls. I mean, here you go. 2017. There you go. Look at this. More cracking. 2017. They knew about it. So, this is why one of these documents is so important. I mean, look at here. We've got cracking up here. You've got cracking here. You know, general condition of basement, external walls. So what does this tell us? If a lot of this, you know, if there was already cracking occurring in 2017, what does this tell us? You know, could there be latent conditions? Could there be changes? Could it have been the neighboring work? You know, when did the work start next door? When did the work start? Hang on, I'll go back. Let's see if we can. Okay, I'm going to go to 27. Nope, hang on. Here's the 2017 from the 5th of the 9th. And you can see here that that is... Is this going to work? Will this go back in time too? Yeah, well, there you go. So I just noticed that down here in the bottom, where my picture is, there's image date, and it says the 10th of 2017. Okay, so I can't... Yes, so this is it at the 10th of 2017, the time that this report was done. So all of these cracks and things that we're seeing occurred prior to any work happening on the site, when the site was just this empty car park. Okay, $15. Is that a good rate for Sydney, guys? That's all day, isn't it? Bloody hell. You don't want to park in the middle of Brisbane. It's just insane, you know. Anyway, let's have a look at some more defects. General condition of the north facade. You know, they take these overall photos and then boom, cracking. So, cracking. Separation between north underside facade. General condition. So they're looking at it. I mean, look here, cracking progressing everywhere. This thing was cracking to pieces. Cracking here. General condition of the northern pavement. So yeah, there's cracking there, cracking everywhere. Look at that, the balcony. Oh boy, do they have enough cover on the Rio? What's going on? Is the water getting into places? What's happening? Is there differential settlement occurring prior to any work happening in the adjoining building? Okay, so let's have a look. I mean, some of these are just minor, but some of them are not minor. They're not minor. And these are all things to keep an eye out for when you're looking at a property, particularly if you get all excited, you know, and you're getting emotionally invested. You may miss this stuff. Some of these are hard to see. And they're doing general condition to the facade, you know, overall to see. Because, you know, if you smashed like a whole balustrade out, you can see eastern boundary wall. I mean, here you go. Let's have a look. Is it any, oh, look at all that leaking out through there. That's disgusting. Waterproofing for that garden's working well, isn't it? So it's getting into there. I tell you, whenever you put plants on buildings, and it's all the bloody rage, everyone wants to put green plants all over buildings. They're a nightmare. They are an utter nightmare to waterproof. I've spoken to some people that would even get the pool guys in to try and waterproof the planter boxes and just had nothing but issues with it. But councils want you to cover the buildings in it. And I remember we were working for a client and all the plants had been pulled out because the roots just destroyed the concrete and cost a fortune in damage. But, you know, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. So here's some more general condition photos. And now they're going inside to look at the gymnasium, guys. And I'll see if we see anything really exciting. Cracking propagation. So you can see here just a faint line, little crack through the wall. So, you know, they're cracking. So you can argue, why did they accept the money from the builder? I know people are telling me it's standard practice, but that doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean it's good. What are they looking at the pool? You know, cracking in pool area. So it's not too bad in the pool, although maybe I'm not noticing it in the photos. Tile cracking. That's the thing, you got to look at expansion joints in your tile floors. And there's Australian standards that you need to comply with. Cracking, that's not too bad. These things always look horrible, but then you can put the little individual ones on and they cost like a fortune. The tactile indicators, they look good though. Yuck. Gross. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the problem whenever you put a capping block on there. Let's have a look. So yeah, guys, it'll be more of the same. And this goes on for 1,300 pages. Here, let's have a look at some more we can see from the basement. And, you know, I've linked to this, to the source of these documents if you'd like to go through it yourself. Let's see if we can find any more. I mean, they have to photograph every little thing. They have to go through there and get as much as they can. So, you know, there's a crack propagating through the basement. There's cracks in the walls, cracks in the basement. General condition. More general condition. Is that a crack going up? No, that's an expansion, isn't it? Yeah, that's it's a cracking, a joint designed for cracking. You know, crack propagation through the basement. So I mean, buildings are there's gonna be cracks in them. That happens, and usually design expansion joints or you know, you cut into the concrete to kind of guide the cracks in certain places, even little ones. But there's, you know, sizes that you don't want to. What's happening there? That's terrible. Terribly dusty and gross. They don't keep it very clean, do they? More cracking. General condition of the basement internal walls. Anything big like that, they're the ones to look out for. You know, they're the ones to look out for, particularly when they're bigger than a hairline. If you can get something in there, seepage through the basement internal wall. I mean, that's bad. That's a waterproofing issue, and you don't want that to get into your reinforcing. You know, because that can cause serious issues. Seepage through the basement walls. You know, general condition. Yeah, so, I mean, it's the basement. It never looks pretty. But if you want to look at a building and the quality of it, you go down the basement. You go down to the basement, you see how good the concrete is. You look at, you know, cracking. You look at patchwork. You know, look at separation here. We've got gaps, you know, cracking through here. So they've been pretty thorough. Pretty thorough. So guys, I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I think I'll do part 2 and we'll go through the next document. But you can see from this, I'd argue that they were aware of a lot of issues with the building. There was some cracking issues everywhere through it, you know? And remember, this is all done before when that neighboring lot was an empty car park. An empty car park. I mean, evidence of patchwork. There you go. Evidence of patchwork. There's where they're trying to patch it and repair it. And we've seen this on jobs too, where buildings were bought by... where we last had our tenancy, it was bought by, you know, a big retail organization, and it was a local shopping center. And they just came in. The previous owners, was managed by an accounting firm, came in, and they just hid all of the concrete cancer with sheet white metal. That was it. And just screwed it in there, covered it, hid it, because they were doing existing conditions report like this, and just because it was covered, they couldn't see it. But then they bought a building riddled with concrete cancer, and they paid millions for it. Millions for it. You know, cracking. Wow, this... Yes. More cracking, more cracking. So, guys, this will be interesting to see what else comes out of this. Can I do 2 pages? No, I can't. What else comes out of this? Let's keep going through. We'll see if there's anything that jumps out. More cracking there. So, you know, it's looking pretty tight, isn't it? For a 10-year-old building. For a 10-year-old building. And, you know, the neighboring building, how are they going to sell any apartments? It's going to be a nightmare. It will be crazy. Oh, let's hope there's nothing wrong with the gas. Or the waste rooms. So yes, and then they go through the apartments, and I'll let you all spend your time going through this yourself. But I think it serves its purpose for us to have an appreciation that a lot of this cracking, particularly the stuff they're showing in the media, was in existence. There were issues prior to the work happening next door. Maybe the work next door exacerbated it. Some people have theory crafted that maybe they removed too much groundwater and it caused issues to the neighboring building. Perhaps. I mean, I'll keep an eye on all of this and be interested to see what comes out of the reports. But it's valuable looking at these type of documents, particularly if you never have, and then keeping this in your mind when you hear people calling for, you know, inspections every year by structural engineers, or every year these type of inspections, and just think what it'll catch and what it can't catch. And remember that when you are looking at buying something. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates, and I'll see you all again later. Bye for now.